So recently I scrolled across a comment section under a YouTube post. Essentially the comments were talking about YouTube video game essays, and I guess the biggest complaint with these type of videos and this type of content, the video will end off with a conclusion of it's up to you whether this game was a masterpiece or some kind of shit, right? And so I kind of understand this little gripe that people have about these type of videos and this content, and just want to talk about it a little bit, and even recommend some channels that I think do this kind of content correctly or very well done. What exactly are video game essays? It is basically a type of content where they will explain their reasoning for why a game they think is a masterpiece or is bad or is mediocre, or whatever they think about the game and they want to talk about, right? There is one thing I will agree with most people, is that there is kind of a huge influx on this type of content, at least very recently. And in the comments, a lot of the things that they said were there was a repetition of games that were just being covered, like games that we already played or games that already have video essays done on them. Basically, they just see a bunch of videos on the same game, and that they'll see it constantly pop up, more and more video essays for that one game. And then sometimes the games that they cover aren't even interesting at all. They're just kind of boring. I guess that's what this type of content serves its purpose for, you know, to discuss these type of games that fly under people's radars. Their number one complaint being that most of these videos will either do one of two things: have a majority of the video just be a recap of the video game they're discussing, or they will end off their video with a "it's up to you" kind of a conclusion. Like if you dog on a game and then you tell people that that's exactly what you think and that's how the others should think, that, you know, somebody will obviously argue against you and stuff like that. So the basically fence sitting by saying that it's up to you to kind of decide whether what they just told you about was good or not, you know. So it is kind of like an escape move. I personally don't see it that way, and to me, it makes sense why they always let you kind of come up with your own conclusion at the end, because the reason I personally watch these type of videos, right, I get interested, right, with depending on the video and title and everything like that, and depending on how the person explains the game, I will either agree or disagree with them. But essentially, these people's complaints have some merit to it, because it's true, there is, I guess, like a flush of content, or what's the word for it, of oversaturation for this type of content coming in. Specifically video game essays, because analytical video essays are another thing like you can discuss anything about, really. And I do agree there is kind of an oversaturation for video game essays. I will say not all of them are bad, and anybody can kind of do this type of content, because at the end of the day, when you watch a video that someone else made, it's usually because you're interested in seeing what they have to say about the game. If you've never seen the game, right, you're interested in what the game is actually about and stuff like that. So you're basically looking for information, right? Some of these claims do have merit to them, because there is an oversaturation of these videos, and a lot of them are kind of lazy, where they will do a recap of the video game and then 20% of the video will actually be about their own opinion, and then they end it off with a "it's up to you." I can see why that kind of format would annoy people, but there are a few channels that I think do this very well and format the video in a way that makes it feel new and fresh, right, and actually get you kind of thinking. Two channels that I know that do video games specifically are the Act Man, right, with his videos being on the longer end, because they're usually like 30 minutes, and the other channel would be, I guess, Game Theory, really, because when you think about it, Game Theory, even though they're discussing theories, at the end of the day, they're discussing the game, and they're bringing something new to the table every time they do make a video. They're essentially educating you, right, which is their entire purpose, right? So I guess those two are good examples of video game essays. And then analytical video essays in general also have a oversaturation in the YouTube space right now, because I can't speak for everyone when I say this, but me personally, I enjoy watching these long types of videos, because when you're at work or school, right, you just want to enjoy passing the time sometimes, because, you know, it's boring when you have nothing to do, right, or you're just doing work and you just need something to listen to. And I personally don't even watch half the videos, because what I usually do is I just listen to these videos, and that's literally all you need, because I can listen to the information that comes in. I don't really need visuals most of the time, and that's how I personally enjoy these long form types of content. And I think that's the reason why there's a bunch of these videos coming out. I think that's the reason why in general this type of content is popping off. Like I said, even though I think there is kind of an oversaturation of this type of content in the YouTube space, at the end of the day, most of them do bring new things things to the table, or at least bring interesting discussions and or educate you and give you information that you wouldn't have known otherwise. Of course, you shouldn't just take everything they say for their word. You should also do your own research, right? Don't believe everything you hear on the internet. I just thought it was kind of interesting that people see this type of content in that way, that it's just it's just another one of these video game essays. It's just going to be a recap, and then it's just going to tell you it's up to you at the end. But you know, these type of videos get you thinking, and that's why I personally enjoy this type of content. I don't know about you guys, but that's just how I think about it. So that's all I wanted to talk about. See ya.
Subscribe, bozo.